Welcome to the Hollywood Outsider, an award-winning weekly entertainment podcast. In this episode, we have details from the 2023 Star Wars celebration. Super Mario has attacked the world, and our topic this week is our 1993 movie battle royale. What was truly the best movie of 1993? I think you're going to be surprised. Let's get on with the show and find out. My name is Aaron Peterson. Joining me today are my fellow hosts, John Davenport.
Hey, buddy. How you doing today?
Wonderful. Troy Heinrichs.
I fill in, do all the work, and I still can't get above John.
And Amanda Sink
I quit.
will be joining us later on for the movie battle royale. She is unable for this initial portion, probably because she doesn't want to talk about Grogu. She just doesn't want to do it.
We don't talk about Grogu.
Can we call him Baby Yoda, or is that against the rules?
No, his name was identified. You must call him by his name. He is not Yoda in any way, shape, or form.
Right. You can't dead name him, Aaron. That's frowned upon in the internet.
It's a puppet. It's a puppet.
Well, some people tell you you're wrong, and it's a real thing.
People are weird. I don't understand people. Okay, I won't. But there was a lot of Star Wars stuff this week, right? Like a lot.
It's still going on.
Stuff. Yeah.
There's like the Europe edition now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. It's interesting of what they're going to do. I think you're about to really unleash it on us, aren't you, Aaron?
I am. But before we get there, I got to ask this, okay? So this is a legitimate question. You guys are both Star Wars. Well, Troy is a Star Wars nut. John used to be, but then they took away the extended universe. Now he's still mad.
Whoa. I'm not a nut. John's still more of a nut than I am, even if he doesn't like it so much anymore.
Yeah, before we were recording, he had to verify time frames with me. So even though I don't really pay attention to Star Wars as much as I used to, the fact that I could still intelligently verify time frames sucks.
So you're a nut. You're the Star Wars nut.
I'll go as far as saying that I am a Star Wars Legends nut, which is what they call the extended universe now, which is Star Wars Legends. I am a Star Wars Legends nut.
Okay. Interesting. So this is an episode where we have 1993 and Star Wars. That's really what we're talking about for the whole episode.
And it's me, Mario.
And Mario, which ironically has some love.
Collected some major coins. That's what it's doing.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. Okay, my question. I had a question. I forgot. I had a question. So with Kathleen Kennedy and the people at Disney announcing so many things and they never come to fruition, is it possible to even get excited over this stuff anymore?
Yes, because Bob Iger's back.
That makes a difference to you. Absolutely
does. Bob Iger knows how to run the show.
Okay.
The other guy that he got rid of, that put in after him, he was bad.
Bob Chapek? Is that his name?
Yeah. Chapek's a financial guy. Iger's a culture guy.
Okay.
Culture matters.
John, are you on board with Troy here?
I am not on board with Troy, and I'm still not really on board with what Star Wars is doing, but I have a lot of thoughts about what was announced.
Okay, well, let's just get into it because it's a lot to talk about. So I don't
know. What wasn't announced was Kathleen Kennedy getting fired, but
because she wasn't.
Everybody wants her fired, I swear.
You know what? Let me talk nebulously for a second here. I watched an interview with Kathleen Kennedy. I watched some of the interviews, and I had very long discussions with my friends who are still trying to convince me that I need to have a love for Star Wars again, which I'm like, no. But if the things that I see are coming, we're going to have a really good time. At the same time, I almost flipped my coffee table watching last week's episode of Mandalorian because they're like, oh, we're going to have a droid bar. That's a really good idea. And I got so mad at the prospect of a droid bar. But anyhow.
Why would that make you so mad? Because droids don't drink?
Because they're just dragging stuff on.
It's just stupid. Like, why they don't need...
Why do we need so a droid? Good.
What is so good?
Mandalorian was so good, and then season 3 happened.
Okay, I'm just mad about a droid bar. You're trying to make it about a whole season. The droid bar was enough.
The entire second episode where I had to watch the doctor guy. Like, I don't care about the doctor guy. I want to see the Darksaber, and I want to see Bo-Katan, and I want to see people kick some ass. I don't care about the doctor.
I want to see a bounty hunter show. That's what I want to see.
Yes.
Badass in space with a side piece.
I want to see faction A of the Mandalorians and the faction B of the Mandalorians fighting each other. That is what I signed up for.
And the side piece is Baby Yoda. Let's move on to our Star Wars celebration. All right, so a couple things. One, 40th anniversary Return of the Jedi is coming to theaters April 28th. So if you haven't seen it in the theater, you can see it again, or you can see it for the first time, or whatever your situation is, you get to see Return of the Jedi. That's cool if you haven't seen it in the theater before.
The poster for that is amazing.
It's a wonderful artwork.
Yeah, it's the best thing since Drew Struzan, and Drew Struzan had nothing to do with this one, but it's pretty great.
Yeah, it's pretty well done. We also, before we get to Star Wars, we have a new trailer for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which I got to say, the first trailer I thought was good, didn't get me over the Crystal Skull hump. This one did. This one was everything I needed in an Indiana Jones trailer. It looks great. Do we agree?
It did. It was exciting and super fun.
Okay.
And a lot of time with Indian no hat, which was also interesting.
It was good.
I didn't need to see the trailer because I still kind of hold off on trailers. The first one was enough for me to be like, I'm in. So I'm still in.
All right. Let's get into Star Wars then. So there's a lot of information, right? A lot of pieces that we're going to talk about. One thing that is firmly established is now we know the Star Wars timeline. That's been revealed. I'm going to go through it from top to bottom. Okay. So now we know where the pieces all fall into play. There's the Dawn of the Jedi. That's where the Jedi become the Jedi. The Old Republic. That's the era first depicted in BioWare's Knights of the Old Republic series. It remains a fan favorite era, but it's been rarely acknowledged by Disney until now because of what? The extended universe connections. Yeah.
Right. Legends.
Yep. The High Republic, which is the Golden Age period that has been the focus of many of the books. The first show set in the High Republic will be Star Wars Acolyte, which was fully revealed during the celebration.
Which is only probably happening because they just spent time actually going back to books and comic books for the High Republic era in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
As canon versus extended.
Why did they ever just get rid of it? It's still the dumbest thing in history, I think.
Because they didn't control it. They didn't want to admit that fans are better than the actual people that do this for a living.
And that's sad. Fall of the Jedi. This would be the prequel era. The Rise of the Empire. That's the era depicted in Star Wars Andor and Obi-Wan Kenobi, covering the period between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. The Age of
Rogue One.
Okay, and Rogue One. The Age of Rebellion is the period covered by the original Star Wars trilogy. So wouldn't that kind of Rogue One is pretty close to that too? So it's
like the bridge.
The Rogue One's a bridge to them.
Okay. The New Republic is the era following Return of the Jedi, which is currently being covered by The Mandalorian. The Rise of the First Order, that's the sequel trilogy period, starting with The Force Awakens, and then the New Jedi Order, which I'll talk about in a second because we're getting a little bit more of what we've already seen. Okay, so that's the timeline. Now you know the timeline. Start to finish until they create another timeline.
Or until they don't actually deliver on any of the stuff that they showed in a picture.
Oh, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. I mean, they had different pictures. John saw different pictures than I did. Had different time, like they're just adding stuff to it as it went.
Yep.
What the hell, man?
The pictures were being revealed as the announcements were happening.
Yeah, that was a fun argument to be in the middle of the day to sit there and be like, "Hey, you're missing some stuff." No, I'm not. Yet, you're missing some stuff. No, I'm not.
I got a picture.
Show him my picture, and yeah, he was like, "Whoops!" I'm like, if we're going to this show and we don't have everything, you're going to be mad at me.
That's true. That's true. It'd be your fault. But notice how graciously I admitted I was wrong and said, "Hey, I'm sorry, I was wrong."
Right.
No one else listening cares, though.
Yeah,
which is like doesn't happen.
I know. So. I'm just trying to illustrate this to Troy. So the next time you're wrong, I want you to learn by example. That's all I'm trying to teach.
Right.
That's all. Just a teaching moment. That's it.
I just applied Mr. Miyagi's principle. I was no be here in that conversation.
All right. Well, some of the things that we learned that they're working on, allegedly, for Star Wars. Ewan McGregor wants Obi-Wan season 2, but they are not working on it as a studio yet. What's basically actor wants job. Kathleen Kennedy said, not yet.
When you saw the crowd and he was like hyping up the crowd, I mean, there are people that are like behind Ewan McGregor. They should totally make Obi-Wan 2.
I did not like season 1. I would not watch it. Put it that way.
Yeah, I feel like they really need to get a good footing on season 2 before they come out with it, because season 1 had its very few good points, but not enough of them to really land.
Yeah, it was a little mishmash of quality and Lando is still in the works. Okay. I mean, I don't need that. I don't. I like Donald Glover fine. I didn't think he was a great Lando Calrissian, and I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch this show personally, but we'll see.
All we needed of Lando's backstory was what we got in Solo, and that was enough.
Mm-hmm. Andor season 2 comes out next year. Now, I'm not a huge fan of that one, but I know a lot of people love that show, so that's good news for them. But
it's the one show you should love because it's got nothing to do with Skywalkers.
I've watched 3 episodes and I just cannot get excited about it. So it is what it is. And I know everybody's like, well, you got to go like the whole run. Well, yeah, that's more TV than I want to watch if it's not interesting to me. So
yeah, but it's strategically chess pieced for a reason because it's the rise of the rebellion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm good. All right, so the Acolyte will be set between the High Republic and the beginning of the prequels. We learned that. Skeleton Crew's coming out and it was described as Goonies in space. That sounds interesting. I'm kind of on board for that. That sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
We need stories like that in the Star Wars universe, right? Not just deep, powerful Jedi everywhere. Like we need some fun kids stories. Let's bring back some of the magic, I think, of Star Wars.
We need kids in space are fine, but kids in the Walking Dead universe is stupid.
Yeah, that was stupid.
I just want to that's in the same thing. One just got zombies and other one's just got space Nazis.
No, they're not even close. They're completely different. One has like the wonder of all these cool toys. What fun toys are there in the Walking Dead universe for kids to play with? Ah, look at that arm. I'll swing that dead arm around. That's fun. That's not the same. Give me a lightsaber. You give me a 12-year-old wielding a lightsaber? That sounds freaking amazing. I want to see that.
Except it's not taking place where it should from that little kid that was the end of The Last Jedi. Because that Last Jedi kid should get his own show.
The one great thing about that movie, and they wasted it, anyone can be a Jedi.
Anyone can be a Jedi. Midichlorians be damned.
That's heroin. All right, Taika Waititi is still working on a screenplay for his Star Wars film, so that's still coming. If you want it or not, that's up to you. He's got a very distinct voice, so that's coming soon. Rian Johnson's trilogy is dead as of now. So that's one of those Star Wars deals that's been talked about forever, and it never came to fruition. And it's never gonna, apparently. Not at this time. Star Wars Tales of the Jedi is getting a second season. Dave Filoni confirmed that. I have not watched this. Have you guys watched that? Is that out?
Watched one episode. I didn't finish it. Just wanted to see what it was.
I'm curious about it. I actually just started Rebels because of all these announcements, which I haven't decided whether or not I'm happy about or hate. But it's there.
Well, here's a fun connection, right? You guys were talking about this before the show, so feel free to elaborate when I bring this up. Star Wars Rebels voice actor Lars Mikkelsen will reprise his role as Admiral Thrawn for Osaka, which we got a trailer of. So is that good by your standards or not good by your standards?
I'm just impressed you got the name right finally. Good job.
So I think that's really, really good for my standards as far as what I expect out of Admiral Thrawn. So for those who don't know, Admiral Thrawn is not a character that is from any sort of movies or cartoons or anything like that. His initial introduction into the Star Wars universe was from Heir to the Empire. And I'll explain more as to why I'm excited about even saying the words Heir to the Empire. But Heir to the Empire is a series of books written by Timothy Zahn. They were what in the 90s helped reignite the love for Star Wars again for a lot of people, because you had these great stories being told by somebody. And that's where we got characters like Grand Admiral Thrawn. We got Talon Karrde, a Jedi named Seaboth is in there. A fan favorite, Mara Jade's in that initially started in that series. So there's a lot that that series brought to us. And from what we're seeing, what I saw in the trailer is, especially with the direct callback to, and this is the trailer for Ahsoka, the direct callback to that book series, Heir to the Empire, with Thrawn, and hopefully we'll see the Dark Forces. There's a character there that they openly admit as a combination of Seaboth and Talon Karrde, which means they are going to be doing a story adjustment. But in the book, Seaboth was a clone, Talon Karrde was a smuggler, and you got Ray Stevens playing that character. I forget what it's like. I think his name is Darth Bane or something like that. He looks cool as hell. also with the Ahsoka trailer, you have the introduction of a few characters from Rebels. We already saw one of them in Mandalorian, which is the big purple guy, Zed or Zeb, or whatever the hell his name is. If you think Zeb, if you watch Mandalorian and you thought he looked familiar, the reason why that character for Zeb is so interesting, I can just keep going. This is stupid. Why are you guys letting me talk?
Yeah.
Is that
Joey's been waiting to talk for a while now, but go ahead.
Right. He's the original, when Ralph McQuarrie was doing the design work for Star Wars, the pre-production design work, the original look for Wookiees was that character. And that's what he's a callback to, and that's why it's cool. But you also have Twi'lek, who's being played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Maybe I have that name wrong, but I'm in the neighborhood.
Right. That's right.
All right. So a Twi'lek played by her is coming in. We have another Mandalorian coming in, who's a fan favorite from the show Rebels, coming in for Ahsoka. And so anyhow, a lot of this is a good example of what they might be doing, which is building the Heir to the Empire story minus the Skywalkers. So there'll be a hint of Luke, but they're going to build it around, instead of building it around Luke, they're going to build it around Ahsoka. And that is something I can get behind.
Finally got Ahsoka right towards the end of what he was saying. So it was like, if he said Ahsoka one more time, I'm like, that's a city in Japan. It's Ahsoka.
I heard it both ways.
Ahsoka Tana. Ahsoka Tana. No, I think all of this is great. I think one of the things that's really frustrating is that I did watch all of Clone Wars because I loved Ahsoka's character, and then we saw Ahsoka in Mandalorian season 2. It was like, yes, we finally see a live action version. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we're finally getting this show is amazing. That it's tied into Grand Admiral Thrawn is amazing. And I just can't be giddier about all of this. The only thing that would be more exciting for me at this point is Star Wars Acolyte, because I want to see that era. I want to see the Old Republic and the High Republic in movies, in TV shows. That is an era that I still want to know, where the hell did Darth Plagueis come from? Right? It's like those stories that are like lore, I think, are much more interesting than stories that we already have lived or know about today. But it's nice that we're finally getting some attention to characters that should be part of the Star Wars universe for real in canon, even though Kathleen Kennedy totally ripped him off from great creative people.
I want to see that because Amanda Stenberg is in it, and I just think she's a great actress, a great young up-and-comer, and look forward to seeing what she does. She's got me interested.
But what is this she's in? Acolyte or?
She's an Acolyte.
Ahsoka.
Yep, she's a star of Acolyte. Yep. She's in Bodies,
yep,
Hunger Games. She's been in a lot of stuff. The Hate You Give. She's phenomenal in that film. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. And Rosario Dawson. I mean, you can't go wrong with her. That'll get me to watch the show, Ahsoka. It will get me to watch it. So, okay. Now we've got features. There are movies coming finally. God, all we've had are these TV series for, it feels like, well, since Rise of the Skywalker, right? We haven't had a film since that one, have we? No. That's the last film we've had of Star Wars. So
I mean, Obi-Wan could have been a film, and it originally was a film.
I would have preferred it, personally.
Yeah. We could have shaved about a half an hour to an hour of it, and it would have been a great movie.
Okay, so 3 movies are coming. Okay, and James Mangold, who is the writer and director of Logan, and he also is doing the upcoming Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny. He is going to do a film that revolves around the dawn of the Force called Dawn of the Jedi. So it's dawning of the Jedi and the Force, or the Jedi finding the Force, something along those lines. That sounds pretty interesting. That could be a phenomenal type story. And James Mangold is a great director and writer. Do you guys care about this?
The title sounds weird to me. That's my only issue. Like, the Force doesn't go away, right, John? Like, it doesn't. The Force is. So why does it need to dawn?
Well, it just fits in the same sort of stupid naming thing that Star Wars does for some reason. So, but can it work? Yeah. Is it going to be interesting? Absolutely. Because it could be something as simple as they go as far back as before they have hyperspace, or before there's even spaceships involved. I mean, it depends on what they really want to do. There's a lot of storytelling that is really there that they can do. And I would be at least interested to find out what they do, because there are comics that sort of outline this for them.
All right. The other feature, Dave Filoni, who's involved with Mandalorian and whatnot, is based around the escalating war between the Imperial Remnant and the fledgling New Republic, and it will connect the worlds of the TV shows. So a lot of people are saying this could be like a Mandalorian series finale. It could function in that respect.
Well, they've said that this is going to be Mandalorian and Ahsoka coming together in a movie, and which again, that goes to if they're going to do what the stories that it looks like they're going to do, which is Dark Force Rising. You have Heir to the Empire. So then you have Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and for the life of me, I can't remember what the last book was. But ultimately, the story that they're building towards with that is going to be fun if they follow that blueprint.
Okay. Well, next up, Obaid Chinoy's film, however, will chronicle events following the rise of Skywalker. And Obaid Chinoy said her film will tell the story of the rebuilding of a new Jedi Order. And big shock, Daisy Ridley will return as Rey. And it was written by Stephen Knight, who did Peaky Blinders. I was shocked to see Daisy Ridley is coming back to this.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked too. So they had to present her with a story that knocked her socks off, considering the sort of response that she had to come. She had to survive from Star Wars. I mean, the poor girl was, chased off the internet for a while because of what Star Wars has done to her. So for her to come back, I'm pretty shocked by it. Now, the title they're going with on this is The New Jedi Order, and which is a specific callback to a series of books that was written. It's one of my favorite Star Wars series of books. And what that talks about is essentially the Jedis have become kind of rock stars. They're back. They're strong. They're almost as strong as they used to be in the height of the Old Republic. But yet the universe as a whole treats them mostly as rock stars, and they're bands of them that kind of maraud around and do heroing stuff essentially. Whereas then you have at the time of the book series, it's Luke who is essentially the head of the New Jedi Order, and he's trying to rein them in. But you have different factions following different kind of, I hate to say it again, but rock stars that do this.
But we don't know that that's the way they're going to go. We don't know that.
No, we don't know. Yeah. But the title is still a callback to that. Now, the thing is that in that series, the big bad were not other Jedis. The big bad was something that was absolutely devoid of the Force, which if they do that can make for some very interesting storytelling. But because if you have something that, because in the world of Star Wars, you've got everybody's affected by the Force, whether you're a Force practitioner or not. And in this other big bad that comes into the galaxy literally has no presence in it and isn't affected by it, with the exception of anything physical that you can do to them. So I think that would be a great way, especially if you got a bunch of people who are walking around thinking they're king shit, and all of a sudden they're constantly being rebuffed by something that's unknown to them.
What I don't want, what I can't stand, what I won't deal with, what I won't watch, is if they did another, well, we were doing some training and this Jedi went bad, basically the same Kylo Ren storyline, where Luke was trying to train him, he went bad, then he's lost forever, and he starts a whole new army. I don't want to deal with that. I like your idea better, whatever you're talking about. That sounds cool. Somebody who's impervious to the Force doesn't work on them. That sounds like a great, interesting way to go. So we don't know. Like, that's just it's all speculation. John's just speculating. But I like that idea a lot more than I like the idea of another Kylo Ren.
It's basically why. Right. It's basically why in the last Airbender series, why Korra season 1 worked, because it was benders versus non-benders. So this is kind of the same concept of Force users versus non-Force users.
Well, it's not even non-Force users. You're also talking
like the Force is technically just void, like it doesn't exist.
Right. They're holes. They're essentially walking, talking holes in the Force, and their technology is all based off of life. So their technology is their spaceships are living spaceships. Their armor actually is like that giant crab that kind of surrounds them. Their weapons are snakes that that change everything about them, and they because of what their weaponry and armory and all that is made of, it actually deflects lightsabers because of the way lightsabers work. So it's a whole thing that's pretty cool. If they do that storyline, which that villain or the creatures that I'm talking about are a bunch of they're called the Yuzon Vong, and they're very much into body modification and worshiping life to the extent of pain is life, and they love pain.
Oh, great! Star Wars Hellraiser. That sounds great. It's now you're losing me.
It's kind of like
now you're losing me. Now you're losing me. I was in, and then I don't know about that, but we'll see. We got a lot to look for. I am excited for Rey to be back. I loved Rey's character. I thought she was the best part of the entire recent trilogy, and I'm glad that she's getting another shot at her own series.
So what I hear is that this new title is going to be Star Wars Pins and Needles.
No, it's still the New Jedi Order.
Jesus.
The New Jedi Order is the era. It's not the title of the movie.
No, it's title of the movie is New Jedi Order.
I thought it was Dawn of the Force.
No, that's the other one. That's James Mangold. Troy. I just went over these. Were you not listening to all that?
The new movie, they have said the new movie is called Star Wars: The New Jedi Order. Don't you start with me, Troy.
What if they pull a rug out from under us and we go and it's really just Rey? There's no other Jedi. Like nobody wants to sign up.
Yeah, I will flip my coffee table for real.
All right. Well, that's the Star Wars stuff. Anything you guys want to say in closing on this whole Star Wars celebration deal, which is a big celebration of Star Wars. That's where they do big announcements like this. So anything in closing before we move on?
Yes, I just want to make an apology for the stupidity that the United States is to the Europeans, because unfortunately Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary will be leaving theaters on May 1st. And you won't get to see it on May 4th like we will in the States.
That's wild.
I just want to make an apology for all of us over here on this side of the puddle to our European friends.
I'm not sorry. I don't care. I really don't care. I'll watch it whenever I want because I own
But a completely refurbished and refabricated X-Wing for $239 will hit the Lego store on May 4th. But if you're a VIP person like myself, you get it on May 1st. FYI.
That's exciting news.
It's super exciting. I can't wait.
Okay.
It's massive. It's huge.
Let's move on.
So let's wait. Hold on. I got things to say. So
come on. You already talked 45 minutes about Star Wars. What more is there to talk about?
All right. I guess you're right.
Go ahead. You got stuff to say. Go ahead.
Jar Jar Binks is actually the big bad in the new series.
It's very, very important. Come on.
No, it's good. I'm good. No,
so show me on the lightsaber where you got touched or whatever.
Really? The pointy end?
So funny. All right, we're going to go into our spoiler-free review for Super Mario Bros. Before we go into our 1993 movie Battle Royale, but I do want to mention that our show is independently funded. All that money comes from our own pockets, and Patreon helps support your favorite podcast. So if you like the show and you want some bonus content, we have bonus stuff every single month. We're going to have a bad movie night for Twilight Zone, the movie, this month. There's other stuff coming out. We're going to have an exclusive panel from Evil Dead Rise, so you can hear the whole thing. When that movie comes out, that'll only be on Patreon. It won't be available here. So if you want to sign up for these benefits and more exclusive content, go to patreon.com/The Hollywood Outsider. That's patreon.com/The Hollywood Outsider. Plus, John is starting a new podcast. We'll have more details soon when he's ready to start that. Okay. Now, Super Mario Brothers. I do want to mention that this episode dives into the year 1993, right? That's what we're building to right now. And it's a coincidence that one of the greatest films of all time also came out in 1993. And what else came out in 1993 was Super Mario Brothers. Not a very good film. A live-action collection of awfulness that I hope we never have to live through again. So this year, on the 30th anniversary of that abysmal train wreck, John Leguizamo, we have Super Mario Brothers, the animated film. And it's a juggernaut. We just had the largest worldwide opening for an animated film ever with $375 million. So there will definitely be sequels and spin-offs. But was it any good? That's what we want to talk about. So hang on. Troy saw it. Let me explain what happens. Mario and his brother Luigi live in Brooklyn, New York. They're plumbers. But they're not doing so hot when they stumble down a green pipe that leads them to the Mushroom Kingdom and opposite ends of the world. Luigi is snatched by Bowser, and Mario recruits Princess Peach, Donkey Kong, and others to go save him. Oh, and Bowser wants to marry the princess too. There's Mario Karts and lots of pipe hopping, if you know what I mean. Voice cast includes Chris Pratt as Mario, Charlie Day as Luigi, Jack Black as Bowser, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, and Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach. Troy, this is the question I want to ask because I know the critics did not like this film generally. But here's what I care about. Was this fun?
Yes, I would say that is the answer to this question. Because the story itself is very paint by the numbers. In fact, it's almost directly ripped off from Mario Odyssey for the Switch. And from that perspective, it's just like, okay. And the way that they brought in Kong, I thought was interesting because Kong and Mario technically do not cross paths in the super sense. They only cross paths in the pre-super sense. So that was a little bit interesting, but I like how they made that happen. But all in all, it's a very straightforward, very kid-friendly, very family-friendly. Not a lot of big surprises if you've played any of these games in any fashion. There was actually one character who was missing from this movie, and there's probably a reason for that. And we can't talk about that here, but they may be in a sequel or something down the road.
And I want to say, this is a movie made for kids, is it not?
It's made for anybody. Well, that's what I'll say. When we talked about should things get remade, and John and I talked about how you have to have a certain love for the property to really pay it good attention to make it worth a remake. This is a movie that had a lot of love behind it from Illumination, from Nintendo, from the actors. Everybody put everything they had into this film, and it shows, and it's fantastic start to finish for game players, because game players will do exactly what I did and go, here is every freaking Easter egg that I found in the entire hour and 40 minutes, because I paid no attention to the story because I've already seen the story.
But as a movie, it was also enjoyable too, right?
But for the kids, it's absolutely enjoyable. The whole theater I was in was kids, soup to nuts. Like every seat was child and an occasional parent with a group of 10. Even me, I went with my wife and 3 of my son's friends. So even I was contributing to the kid population.
I feel like soup to nuts in this scenario gets you banned from schools. So how was the voice acting?
Definitely does in Kansas. The voice acting was fine. It was great. There wasn't anything wrong with the voices. I think people just want something to complain about.
Was Chris Pratt horrible? Was he bad?
Well, here's the thing. The scene that you see in the trailer that everybody complained about from Chris Pratt when he says, let's go, or whatever it was, he doesn't actually say that in that part of the film. So it was just recorded for the trailer. And therefore, it was probably an early cut. And so as they worked through it, as they went along, it tweaks up a little bit. I don't even know it's Chris Pratt, to be honest. In
really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Like I could hear Jack Black a little bit as Bowser, only because there's a whole sequence where they purposely, I think Jack Black said, I will play Bowser if I can do my own song, Tenacious D style. And there's definitely a sequence of that that's actually pretty funny. But
that actually was that the song Peaches? Is that
Peaches? Yes,
because that's it can be nominated for an Oscar. That song can be. So we'll see if that happens. That would be fun.
We will see. It's something to behold for sure.
So did the animation pop?
Oh yeah, the animation's beautiful. I mean, Illumination can't go wrong. No, it's gorgeous. The way they did the Mushroom Kingdom, the way they did the glass pipes felt like it was straight out of the video game. The way they did the floaty blocks was straight out of the game. The question blocks straight out of the game. Everything looked like it was literally ripped right off of a 3D Nintendo version.
That's amazing.
Like Super Mario 3D World or Bowser's Fury. They even pulled in a bunch of stuff that only true dedicated hardcore Mario people would even pick up on or notice, which was awesome.
And does anyone address why there are so many conversations on peaches and pipes in this thing? Because it feels like the wrong turn for a family film.
No one talks about peaches or pipes.
All right. If $10 is full price admission, what do you give Super Mario Brothers?
I would give it 100 because that's about as many Easter eggs as I found.
Stop. What's the score? What would you say?
I had a good time because I love looking for the Easter eggs. The story's a little bit weak. The music is fantastic, though. The way they pulled in the world scores really give it a sense of like just belonging. I'd give it a solid 750.
That's a good time.
It's a good time. And it definitely, the way that they introduced the storyline and the characters that they connected to, I could come up with at least 3 more movies very easily and make this a franchise.
Oh, they're working on that right now, right?
There's definitely a second one for sure. There's got to be a second one for sure based on the post-credit sequences.
And the box office. My God.
And the box office. But yeah, there's at least 3 solid stories that I can just come up with in my head alone.
it's time for our From the Outside In topic, which is our 1993 movie battle Royale. All right, we're going into our 1993 movie battle royale. Amanda is here for this because we need 4 people. She can't be here for the whole thing because she said, literally, I hate Star Wars. I don't know what that means.
That is not what I said.
That's exactly what I heard.
I'm actually having a watch party for May the 4th be with you.
Sure you are.
What?
Sure you are.
I am.
That's kind of denial from what we heard earlier.
And because I've never enjoyed Rogue One, I am being forced into adding this to the catalog for the day and attempting another take on Rogue One. I'm going to try
forcing you to do this?
Yeah, she's forcing you.
Part of my watch party group.
You're part of your watch party group.
Part of my watch party group. Mm-hmm.
Is that their name? Because that's like, where are they
No,
from?
it's just a group. I'm trying to be vague intentionally.
Oh,
but you're Amanda.
Okay.
I am.
Are they using the dark side or the light side of the Force?
Dark side.
Dark side.
I don't know.
All right. Well, let's go to 1993. All right. We're going to do the movie battle royale here shortly. But first, let's talk a little bit about 1993, the year in TV and film. In terms of TV, some great television came out that year. The X-Files. Frasier was out. Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Boy Meets World. NYPD Blue when they started having naked men's asses on screens at home on network time. Walker, Texas Ranger. Made my grandma's day for some reason.
Man.
I don't know why. Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. Babylon 5. Diagnosis Murder. Yeah, I said it. I like that show. Homicide. Living Single. The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. Starring Mr. Bruce Campbell, which should have been on a lot longer than it was. So in terms of TV, pretty good frickin' year.
Not bad at all.
You know what my favorite thing to come out of 1993 was?
What's that?
Me.
Jesus.
Well, that's a lot better than I thought she was going to say.
Yeah.
Oh, what did you think I was going to say?
I don't know. I thought there was going to be some forcefully dirty thing that happens there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But
That's
that
why,
was a lot
that's why
better.
she was the Nightmare Before Christmas, the Army
Right.
of Darkness.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm,
they're
mhm.
all named after Amanda.
You know, damn.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow. That's dark.
That was funny though. That was funny though.
Dark.
She came out falling down.
Oh, boy. Here we're just going to
Wow.
keep punning it up.
All right. So this year in television, I feel like it's a very formative year in television. You know, they got a lot of great shows that stuck around and they became kind of like in the mythos of pop culture.
Mhm.
This is when it really starts. I'm not going to say it's where it really starts to kick in, but at least it's one of those bookmark periods where you can say there's a whole lot of great things that started in 1993 and it stuck around for quite a while. And it's still, you know, in a lot of ways still here. And it still has its Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is getting another movie on Netflix. I mean, I don't know if we need that.
Never watch that. Yeah.
I know.
We don't.
Boy Meets World had a resurgence. Deep Space Nine.
I definitely
is-
never watched that
Deep
either.
Space Nine is actively like in works right now with
Yeah.
Picard.
Walker Texas Ranger has another series now. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on here that I feel that
X-Files is getting a reboot. Brian Coogler is going to be behind a version of a reboot for that. So, I mean, everything's
But
gonna
there's
be
there's
awesome.
1,000 years of Babylon 5, and yet we cannot get anybody to get on board with Babylon 5. I don't understand. It's so good.
I'm sorry. Is Justin back?
most people listening now don't even know who you're talking about.
That's true. But like
I
Babylon
hear you.
5
I
was
hear you.
every
I
other word.
understand.
Yeah.
Nobody can see you pointing at heaven.
If
Let's
there's
all
a
face
heaven.
it.
Is that where he
You're
is?
pointing the wrong direction.
He would never. He would
He
never.
would
be,
never say that.
Yeah,
No.
No. Uh-uh.
That would be funny though. He would probably piss on us right now if he heard this.
I didn't like Babylon 5. I thought it was just okay. I mean, but I'm also not a huge sci-fi fan like you guys are. So
Well, Babylon 5 for television, it brought a change in television in general when it came to especially special effects. You know, you've got things that are from Star Trek that are fine, and other things that were fine, and they're all good in their own right. But Babylon 5 was really when computer graphics started to come and take hold on your television as opposed to just in the movies.
what I love about some of these shows is how many of them are still rewatchable today, all these years later.
X-Files is up until about season 7, and then just stop. True. And then wait for Ryan Coogler to do it again. Because stop. No.
Homicide is one of the beginning footprints for Law and Order. It's where you have so many characters from Homicide that show up again in Law and Order. If not characters, then actors start showing up in Law and Order from there, just because of the connection the two shows have.
If it wasn't for NYPD Blue, then Shonda Rhimes wouldn't be able to show all the sex she does in her shows.
It's true. That really broke boundaries at the time. People don't realize that, but you couldn't get away with that on TV. It was very racy and risque at the time. People were very, very
a lot of hullabaloo about it.
Oh, they were so mad. That's an ass. You can't have an ass on my TV at night. Asses are for midnight, I guess. I don't know when they were supposed to be on TV, but
Cinemax.
I was gonna say
at 11:30
in that Central. VCR whenever it's time to pop it in.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Do you see what I did there unintentionally? That was
wasn't
great.
It unintentionally because you took such a big ha. I felt very intentional.
But I was just really proud of it after.
You should be a little.
Not many listeners know what you're talking about when you say VCR either.
That's kind of crazy to think about.
Man, I just found a whole box of videotapes when I was cleaning out my basement, and I'm like, what do I do with these? And I had a dumpster, and I was gonna throw them away, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll need them someday. Someday I'm really going to need this videotape that I can't find anymore. This Pamela Anderson Playboy episode. You know what I mean? Yeah, she had one.
No, Aaron, why don't you tell us more about that?
No, I'll do it slow later. All right, let's move to movies.
Yeah.
So, 1993, that's really what we're here for, is the movie Battle Royale. But before we get to our final 8, the 8 movies we've picked to battle off of, I want to mention some of the other movies that came out in this particular year. Some classics, some gems.
To be fair, we picked 4. And then the listeners picked 4.
That's true.
That we were forced to talk about.
Troy just wants to clarify. I didn't make both of these picks.
He's very angry about some of this.
Yeah, you know what, so Troy? Sometimes if you don't get in that chat fast enough, you get assigned homework.
Yeah, that's just how the life works.
We've all been there, man. And we didn't all get out of our movie that we didn't care about.
Okay, so let's explain it.
The listeners made a tie.
Let me explain. God damn it. All right. We did a poll in our Facebook group. We can't do it on Twitter because you can't have all the options on Twitter. I'm sorry. But on Facebook, we had a big poll to determine what were the top movies of that year according to listeners. The top 5, we each had to pick one out of. It's actually the top 4, but we did have a tie. We have Jurassic Park, The Fugitive, Groundhog Day, and Tombstone and Mrs. Doubtfire. Now, Groundhog Day and Tombstone were tied. Troy originally got Groundhog Day through a stink because he knew nobody on this panel was going to vote for that movie.
I would have.
Well, okay, would have got 1 vote, so it already lost.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't have gotten mine.
Yeah, mine either. I hate that.
Well, maybe. I guess we should know who it would go up against.
It wouldn't have won.
It wouldn't have won for... You could have put it up against the worst movie. You could have put it up against the worst movie of the year, and I still would vote for it.
You could have put it up against The Room, and I still would have picked The Room.
Yeah, even
that
though
one's pretty entertaining.
It didn't even come out that year, but I'd still vote for it.
Aaron's like, I will defy my own rules just in spite of Groundhog Day.
So 4 that were essentially picked by listeners, but are still definitely qualify as some of the best films of the year, will be Jurassic Park, The Fugitive, Tombstone, and Mrs. Doubtfire. And we all have to make our pitch, and we also have our own selection that we have to justify in our own way as to why we think it should be held in esteem as the best film of the year. Because the idea is each one we're pushing could qualify as the best movie of 1993. But before we get to that, here's a list of some of the great ones. Now, I know some people will say, well, Schindler's List won Best Picture. That's great. It's a fantastic movie that I only watched once and I never wanted to see it again. I'm not taking away from that movie at all. And I think we can all agree on that.
Fabulous. And enough.
And so for our movie Battle Royale, it's how we define the best movie of the year is. And my definition is I want to see the movie again. That's not a movie I want to see again. Fair?
Exactly.
All right. That's what we're looking for. So here's some other gems from that year. Cool Runnings.
Heck yeah.
Oh, it's a good movie. The Crying Game. What a surprise that was.
That was.
All over the place. Rookie of the Year. Hocus Pocus.
Hell yeah.
Amanda, I'm actually kind of surprised that wasn't your second film.
Well, I know
Me
it's
too.
not going to go anywhere. That'd be a waste of my vote.
Yeah,
your vote?
that movie, though culturally important, kind of sucks.
Ooh.
I love the movie, but I'm not going to say that it's like the greatest movie of that year.
I'm just saying, I know it. I recognize that it's culturally important. It just isn't a good movie.
It's not everyone's taste.
It's not.
For
Right.
sure.
The Pelican Brief, my personal pick for the best adaptation of a John Grisham book. I love the book, love the movie. It's Julie Roberts and Denzel Washington, great film. Last Action Hero, Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's one where it was kind of hated when it was released, but has gotten this cult success
Cult
over the years.
following.
Yeah.
Yep. It's great.
Falling Down, the most pent up racist white man in history, goes on a shooting spree. It's a little more relevant than I would like it to be these days.
It's only gets more and more relevant with each year.
I was going to say, that feels like a headline from 2023 news, and I don't like it.
That was a headline 12 hours ago.
Yeah, it's basically it's almost a documentary at this point. Hard Target, probably my favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. If anybody would have put it in their list, I would have voted for it. I'm just like,
Is that the one where he punches a snake?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And he has an accent, even more so than his own accent. Is supposed to be from, I don't know, my name's Chance. My mama took one and got this Louisiana/French accent. I don't know what's happening, but I love it. I just love
And
it.
he's got the world's greatest mullet going
That
on.
mullet is like someone said that's the right call. And he said,
Right.
yes.
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 I think it's the only English he actually knew instinctively. The Sandlot, You're Killing Me, Smalls. That came out in
Good one.
93.
It's a good one.
Rudy, one of the best sports movies in history.
Rudy.
For sure. It was in one of our battle royales, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact.
Family. No, what was it in for?
I think it was sports movies or
movies.
football movies
there
or
we
something
go.
like that.
Super Mario Brothers, the
First
original.
attempt.
A piece of shit. I love how John Leguizamo was going around basically implying that movie was somehow good and people misunderstood it. No, it sucked when it came out. It sucks still. That's funny. But a movie that has stood the test of time, and it was one of the best films of all time, but I know probably doesn't belong in the best movie of 1993's list, Army of Darkness.
Honestly, I would have voted for it.
Yeah.
I would have voted for it too.
It's
I
pretty
would
Totally
have.
would have voted for it.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to pick it, Aaron, for sure.
Yeah.
I couldn't, in my heart of hearts, as much as I love that movie, I couldn't put it as best movie of that year. I couldn't.
But best is how you define
I know,
it, right?
and I
It's
couldn't define it accurately
subjective.
as best movie of that year because I know there are so many things that aren't good about it. It's basically a bad movie that I love. So I don't feel like it belonged. But
It's the best Saturday
Fair enough.
movie out there.
yeah, don't get me wrong, it belongs in the conversation. If in hindsight, I probably should have added it, but it is what it is. We're done.
It's getting more spin-off from it today, so it still is culturally significant.
Yeah, Evil Dead Rise.
I was going to say,
Evil Dead Rise.
if Troy can change the rules, you can change the rules.
I can, but I won't. I will
We haven't
respect.
battled yet.
the
He
process.
could throw us a curveball. Just wait and see.
It's true.
That's
Stay
true.
tuned, listeners.
I want to tell you what the top 10 movies of that year were. Okay. Now, there's a couple that have been removed because Aladdin and A Few Good Men did not come out in 1993. They actually came out in 92 and just played through the years. They ended up in the top box office. So I'm removing them from the list. Just top 10 from 1993. I don't know what I'm saying. Number 1, Jurassic Park. No surprise. Number 2, The Fugitive. That was huge. Huge movie. Number 3 was The Firm. Then Sleepless in Seattle, which is a very good film. Right? It's very sweet. Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan. Aw.
Way to talk down to it.
why-
No, it's good.
That's why you go to the top of the Empire State Building every time.
It's
you
not
go.
When Harry Met Sally good.
Exactly. It's not
But it's
When Harry
good.
Met Sally. Number 5 is Mrs. Doubtfire. Which we'll talk about more here in a minute. Number 6 was Indecent Proposal, where a guy's like, give me $1 million and you can sleep with my wife like she's property. What a great idea for a film. I want to see a remake of that one in today's age.
Not enough money in the world.
I could see it happening in the reverse, though. And that's kind of sad.
Well, guys would do it for $100, Amanda. What what are you talking about? If it gets to $1 million, it's already done. I'm already there. I'm already in the room.
It could be a con. It could be that the husband and wife are actually swingers, and then they play somebody for the $1 million.
Could be.
You know, I promised myself I was going to be good, and yet people start saying things that
that wind
really get me to the point where I'm going to start saying things that I have no control over.
Okay,
so
we're moving on.
Don't do it.
In the Line of Fire. In the Line of Fire. That's Clint Eastwood as a
It's a great film.
secret agent. Yeah, Secret Service agent. It's a great movie. Great movie.
It's the one I actually think about the most when I go on an airplane because of the fact that he made that plastic gun. And it's like, could that actually get through TSA today? And it still freaks the crap out of me.
You know, what I think about that movie is that Clint Eastwood was old then.
And that was 30 years ago. Yep.
And that was 30 years ago. And he's still running around like, I'm going to have a threesome with girls half my age at best, if I'm lucky.
I don't think he's doing that. He's just making movies.
What? He did that in a movie, right?
Yeah, he's not doing it, though. Like, his hip would break.
His character is implied doing it.
Yeah. Let's go to the next one. So then we have Cliffhanger. Sylvester Stallone, classic. What a gem. John Lithgow was a maniac. I love that movie. Number 9, Free Willy. Aw.
Love that whale.
Whale just jumped over. I don't think
I love it too.
Physics don't apply in that film at all.
Did you see the space whale?
The kid would have been squashed dead. That would have been the end of Free Willy, is the whale trying to jump over that kid, and the kid gets squashed dead.
The whale had total clearance. That's why Payakin was able to take down that boat.
Yeah, let's base the science on Avatar 2. And number 10 is Groundhog Day, a movie that we obviously, I'm sure, we're being cursed at by many people that are listening, but it's never going to be on my list.
I am not.
That movie sucks.
We appreciate the business that it brought to the northwest suburbs of the Chicago area.
It's filmed in Woodstock. Yeah, it's filmed in Woodstock. Yep. John, speak positive about it. I don't want to leave people on negative. Speak positive about Groundhog Day.
That movie was peak Bill Murray, back when Bill Murray was somebody you can actually love and appreciate on the screen without worrying about what kind of monster he is. That movie is hysterical in a way that is only could be said about that movie. Don't drive angry. That's the best line that goes miles beyond whatever the movie possibly did. And it's a sweet story. I don't care what kind of like sick psychopath you are. It's actually a sweet story about a guy who learns how to change himself to be better for somebody else.
After he bangs literally everybody in the town.
Did he?
Well, look, that old lady needed it for her hip.
Just saying. He got better
it's
because
a medical accommodation.
He literally ran out of options.
She was hurting for a squirting. Okay?
Easy. Okay.
Whoa!
And you made it gross.
Pinnacle Bill Murray was like mid to late 80s with Ghostbusters and Scrooged. And even What About Bob was better than this one.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan of the movie personally, but I love that people love it.
There's a difference between I want to change for the better, as the song goes, and then there is the people that are like, I am changed because I learned all these things, but I'm still a narcissist because it's all about me. Mm-hmm. The whole movie is about him.
It is.
And this is why we didn't choose it to be part of the Battle Royale.
And he fell in love.
This feels like you got something personal going on with this.
Yeah, it felt like it was really hitting you in the heart right there. It's like, you're like, I want to come clean, guys. Here's what's going on with me.
They want to make him seem redeemable in the movie, and he's not redeemable in the movie.
I agree with you. I don't like him even at the end.
Everybody but John agrees with you right now. So
yeah. Should have won the Army of Darkness.
Ned Ryerson is going to come punch you in the dick, John. Okay.
God damn it.
Ned Ryerson wouldn't be able to. And stop creating things for Aaron to edit.
Is this a small dick joke about yourself?
Wow, I actually didn't. Oh, I did that to myself, didn't I?
You sure did.
Like, what?
You stepped right in that puddle, even when Bill Murray came by to help you out.
Bravo, Amanda. Bravo. Well done.
Oh my God. Okay. You know what? And Army of Darkness had its run with, I think, was it horror sequel movie Battle Royale? Where it didn't win that one?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I feel better because it's had its time on this podcast.
It's why some of these weren't chosen because we've already talked about them previously.
No, that's not. I did not choose anything based on that.
That's why I did not choose Rudy because I knew Rudy was in the sports one.
No, if you think it qualifies, it qualifies. What a weird you die on the weirdest hills sometimes.
You truly do.
I don't
like
understand.
Where did these rules come from? You just you like structure and rules so much that you invented your own.
No, Troy loves to go the opposite of whatever the norm is. Like, what's everybody else doing?
Yeah.
Oh, they're all walking down that bridge. Okay, I'm jumping off the bridge. Screw that. I am not walking it. I'm going to swim. I'm going to swim to the other side.
I'm not going to be a lemming.
You guys talk as if I almost called him Roy, as if Troy knows what the rules are. He just makes shit up as he goes along and then forces it down everybody else's throat.
That's true. That's not wrong.
It's
Troy's world. We're just living in it.
That's not fair. Troy usually is pretty structured, and as long as he makes the structure, he just
I
doesn't
was gonna say
structure.
My programming won't allow it any other way.
All right. Let's go ahead. Now, we switched who's Ho North and who's South because Amanda did move. So only Troy and I are actually in Ho North now, where Amanda...
So I'm Ho South?
Yep, you're in Ho South.
Oh my God.
That's what happens when you move.
You're one of the dirty hoes.
This is crazy. What?
So Troy, we're going to give you the honors.
We could have like a funky three-way bracket with a Ho West or something.
Okay.
All right, let's be careful.
There's enough squirting talk.
Yeah, let's keep the three ways to a minimum.
One gets an automatic bye to get through because Jurassic Park should just go forward.
Troy.
I wasn't sure if that was you being like, stop immediately, or you making a dinosaur noise.
He was like, "Rawr."
No, I'm saving that for I'm the one that has a dinosaur movie.
Stop immediately. We break things into Ho North and Ho South, and then we break it down. We whittle it down until we have two final combatants, and the winner is chosen from there. All ties are settled by that Facebook group poll that we took. So we'll see where it goes. Troy, you've got the first two candidates. Please allow our hosts to explain why their two films should be qualified as Movie of the Year, 1993. Troy.
All right. Our first movie is, of course, The Firm.
I call you Mitch, if I may. My name is Voiles, Denton Voiles. I'm with the Department of Justice.
What happened to Eddie Lomax?
We've been investigating Bendini, Lambert, and Locke for 4 years. No lawyer has ever left your law firm alive. 2 tried to leave, they were killed. 2 were about to try, you know what happened. We have reason to believe that your house is bugged. Your phones are tapped, your office is wired. They may follow you, they may be here in Washington as we speak.
Are you saying my life is
I'm saying that your life as you know it is over.
It is a legal thriller released in 1993, directed by Sidney Pollack, and based on the best-selling novel of the same name by John Grisham. The movie features an all-star cast led by Tom Cruise and is known for its suspenseful plot, thrilling pace, and excellent performances. It was a highly successful movie at the box office. It brought in $270 million worldwide during its theatrical run in 1993. In the United States alone, it brought in $158 million, making it the 7th highest grossing movie of the year. The Firm has a very engaging plot with a young lawyer moving into Memphis, Tennessee in order to work for his dream job, where he finds out that he, of course, is the lawyer for the mob. And so he wants to expose the firm for its evil doings and, of course, representing his client so he doesn't get disbarred. It has the great Gene Hackman, Holly Hunter, Wilford Brimley, and, of course, Mitch McDare is Tom Cruise. It's very well paced, even though it runs fairly long. It never feels like it's slow at any point during the movie. The way that they actually get him at the end of the movie is really intricate and well planned. I just think it's really well done overall. The production value is super high. I love the chase on foot through downtown Memphis at the end of the movie. Overall, it's just really well made, highly entertaining. Anytime it comes on, I will watch this movie because it's just captivating from start to finish. That is The Firm.
Great movie. Great movie.
It is up against The Fugitive, which is also widely considered a great movie.
No, I don't think you made it. Well, looks like you came a long way for nothing.
With all due respect, Sheriff Rollins, I'd like to recommend checkpoints on a 15-mile radius at I-57, I-24, and over here on Route 13 east of Chester.
Whoa, wait a minute. The prisoners are all dead. The only thing checkpoints are going to do is get a lot of good people frantic around here and flood my office with calls.
Well, shit, Sheriff. I'd hate to see that happen, so I guess I'll take over your investigation.
On what authority?
Governor of the state of Illinois, United States Marshal's Office, 5th District, Northern Illinois.
All right, fine. You want jurisdiction over this mess? You got it. Okay, boys, gather around here and listen up. We're shutting it down. Wyatt Earp's here to mop up for
Now, before you go, we're going to need Sam.
Excuse me, Sam.
Oh, wow, gee whiz, look here. You know, we're always fascinated when we find leg irons with no legs in them. Who held the keys, sir?
Me?
Where are those keys at?
I don't know.
Care to revise your statement, sir?
What?
Do you want to change your bullshit story, sir?
It was a massive commercial success, grossing over $368 million worldwide during its theatrical run. And in the United States, it grossed $183 million, making it the second highest grossing film, right behind Jurassic Park. It has a gripping story telling it of the Dr. Richard Kimball, a man who is wrongly accused of murdering his wife, and goes on the run to clear his name. The film's storyline is filled with tension, drama, and suspense as Kimball races across time and to find the real killer while being pursued by Tommy Lee Jones, who is a U.S. Marshal. The movie's really great because of the well-executed action between these two people, because you really never know if Tommy Lee Jones is actually going to side with Kimball by the end of the movie. And you just have to say, is he actually going to stay with the law? Is he going to come to Kimball's side? So there's just lots of back and forth between these two. And because of the two actors and what they bring to the screen in very good set pieces and scenery areas, but at the same time, it's very small when you think about just the two people and what's involved in order to make this happen. So just their acting alone is what really portrays this movie in the best possible light. Overall, it's massively crafted. It's a thriller that delivers on all fronts, from gripping story, strong performances, well-executed acting. It's great pacing also, and it's massive box office success. Ultimately, both these movies are highly regarded and have stood the test of time, but really it's going to be a choice on which kind of thriller movie you are to determine if it's good or bad in order to make the cut.
Okay, you get to take the vote.
I don't know if we're going to vote right away.
Yep, and Whole North, and then Whole South, and then we'll do a combined, and so on and so forth.
All right, so then we'll go Whole North. Aaron.
That's, for me, this is an easy one, but also I am a huge fan of the show The Fugitive. I loved the movie when it came out. They did a wonderful thing in terms of combining the elements of the show that work great with modern filmmaking, with Harrison Ford's whole persona. Tommy Lee Jones was so good he won the Oscar. I don't care. That just, everything about that movie for me worked. It worked. It rocked every hen house, shit house, brick house, whatever. It was a phenomenal film. The Firm is a very good film. I love the book. It's just not something that really stood with me in terms of time. So it's The Fugitive for me.
All right, Amanda.
So let me first preface this by saying this has nothing to do with Tom Cruise.
Sure it doesn't.
But The Fugitive is one that, I mean, it's got Harrison Ford in it. I don't know how you top that. I love that movie for some reason. I can't even pinpoint what exactly it is about it that makes it so enjoyable for me, other than the cast and, you know, it's a good story. But The Fugitive is an easy selection for me. Now, I will at least give The Firm a little bit of credit. I don't absolutely hate Tom Cruise in The Firm.
I just want to quickly, not to interrupt, but answer your question. What could be better than Harrison Ford? And it would be a movie with Kurt Russell. So just keep that in your mind. All right. Sorry.
That's fair.
Back to you, Troy.
Escape from New York.
We'll go to Arjan.
There's not a lot of discussion to have about this.
Yeah, your vote doesn't matter. We don't care.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, which is normal. However, not a lot of discussion. Tommy Lee Jones is a badass. There's no other way to describe that movie, The Fugitive. It's something that still holds up to this day, even without the the need for proper counterfeiting technology that this guy uses, the orange peels, lamination kit that he made at home and all that, and he can counterfeit a tag. Okay, I'm gonna have to go with The Fugitive.
Okay, I guess The Fugitive goes to the next round. Now, my first two films. My first film is a more serious film. It's called Philadelphia.
All right, explain this to me like I'm a 2-year-old, okay? Because there's an element to this thing I just cannot get through my thick head. Didn't you have an obligation to tell your employer you had this dreaded, deadly, infectious disease?
That's not the point. From the day they hired me, To the day I was fired, I served my clients consistently, thoroughly, with absolute excellence. If they hadn't fired me, that's what I'd be doing today.
And they don't want to fire you for having AIDS, so in spite of your brilliance, they make you look incompetent, thus the mysterious lost file? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Correct. I was sabotaged.
I don't buy it, counselor.
That's very disappointing.
I don't see a case.
I have a case.
It's the story of gay man Andrew Beckett, played by Tom Hanks, who asked his lawyer, Joe Miller, Denzel Washington, to help him sue his employers, who fired him after discovering he had AIDS. Originally released on December 14th, 1993, it grossed $206 million worldwide, and Tom Hanks won the Best Actor prize at the 66th Annual Academy Awards, 2 years back-to-back for old Hanksy, while Bruce Springsteen's Streets of Philadelphia won Best Original Song. There are multiple reasons why Philadelphia, I believe, belongs in the conversation of Best Movie of 1993. It's both a character piece and a very moving legal drama. It's a message movie that never really feels like it's talking down to you. Denzel Washington's Joe Miller is a relatable character who doesn't even realize how his undercurrent of bigotry is even present. He grows, Andy grows, we grow. I grew up in an era where all the media attention essentially taught the world that AIDS was attributable to the gay community, and you could basically get it by being in their general vicinity. It was fear-mongering. It was a horrific time for those in those communities. Thankfully, my mom was a nurse, so I knew all of this was nonsense, but the world at large did believe a lot of it. And it wasn't until movies started normalizing homosexuality, the AIDS epidemic, and things like that, where it really started driving the point home that, hey, this is just a disease. This isn't something to be petrified of. Well, it's very powerful in its presentation, the film is, and it delivers a lot of what humanity we need in this world, I think. So Philadelphia, to me, truly humanized the disease that is HIV and AIDS. It helped the world at large understand those suffering from this disease were treated completely different than other diseases, and it was horrible what they were subjected to. And it really struck with me, and it stuck with me as well, impacted me, and I believe Denzel Washington was just as strong as Tom Hanks was. That's Philadelphia. Now, my second film has one of the greatest actors of all time. His name is Kurt Russell, and the film is Tombstone.
Wide Herb, huh? Heard of you.
Listen now, Mr. Kansas law dog. Law don't go around here. Savvy?
I'm retired. Good. That's real good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's real good, law dog, because law just don't go around here.
Yeah, I heard you the first time. Winner to the king, $500.
Shut up, eh?
You must be Doc Holliday.
That's the rumor.
You retired too?
Not me. I'm in my prime.
Yeah, you look it.
You must be Ringo. Look, darling. Johnny Ringo. The deadliest pistoleer since Wild Bill, they say. What do you think, darling? Should I hate him?
You don't even know him.
No, that's true, but I don't know. There's just something about him. Something around the house.
Released on Christmas, 1993. It's 1879 in Tombstone, Arizona, where Wyatt Earp reconnects with his brother, Morgan and Virgil, in an attempt to settle down and find their riches. The American Dream. Wyatt is a retired peace officer who quickly realizes Tombstone has a lot of lawlessness running around town. The cowboys, led by Curly Bill, have had their way about town for some time, and Wyatt wants to stay clear of it. He just wants to have his family and get rich. When Marshal Fred White is murdered in the street and subsequently walks away clean from it is Wild Bill, or Curly Bill, not Wild Bill, different guy. The Earp boys are drawn back into what they swore to avoid, bringing criminals to justice. Along for the ride is Doc Holliday, Johnny Ringo, Ike Clanton, Johnny Behan, Wyatt's wife, Maddie Blaylock, and his eventual lady friend for life, Josephine Marcus. The tension in this film is palpable as we progress towards one of the greatest scenes in film history. I say that without reservation. The showdown at the OK Corral. It's captured with accuracy and precision. It's a scene that is impossible to dislike, as is this movie, in my opinion. Tombstone then showcases Wyatt's mission for justified vengeance as he brings down the rest of the cowboys one by one by one. Now, history-wise, Tombstone was written by Kevin Jarre, who was the original director but replaced early on in the production by George Cosmatos. Many actors, including Val Kilmer himself, have gone on record that Kurt Russell, in actuality, ended up directing this film, as Cosmatos was unable to finish the film either. Kilmer stated that Russell invested his heart and soul and every waking hour into completing that film, and still to this day refuses to take credit for that because he wants the film to stand alone without any drama. I'm just saying that's just a fun fact, and also because it just proves Kurt Russell is the greatest human alive. And stand alone it does. Tombstone is my favorite Western of all time, hands down. Dead stop. Period. One of the best assembled casts in history. Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, Sam Elliott, Michael Biehn, Bill Paxton, Stephen Lang, Charlton Heston, Powers Booth, Dana Delaney, Michael Rooker, Billy Bob Thornton, and they were all at the top of their game. The film captures a seminal moment of time in American history and is fantastically captivating from start to finish with some of the most quoted dialogue in film history. I'm your Huckleberry. I've got 2 guns, one for each of you, and hell's coming with me. And the most moving scene of 2 friends in history for me when Wyatt tells Doc goodbye for the very last time. I get teary-eyed even telling you about it. Live, Wyatt. Live for me. There's no better film on this list from 1993 to me. I know it's not fair because I just described 2 of them, but they're both very impactful. So that's my picks. Philadelphia and Tombstone, both fantastic films. What say you, John?
This one's a little tough, primarily just because what I am forcing myself to wage against is, or to measure against is accolades, wonderful story, huge impact, a good fun time, and wildly memorable, and ultimately rewatchable to an nth degree. So what do I go with? And I'm gonna have to go with Tombstone, which is because it is rewatchable, it is enjoyable, it is something that I feel as though, even though the story behind Philadelphia is important, I would much rather, in the spirit of being able to enjoy myself and let go and to fall into something that takes me out of time, I'd rather be in Tombstone, which is crazy because it's all about murder.
All right. Troy.
Tom Hanks had to act like he had AIDS and deal with all of the situations that go along with it in putting together probably one of his best performances of his career. So I don't care how good a Western show is. I don't care how many people are in it, but the Hanks will always take the cake for me. So I will go Philadelphia because feels.
Amanda, decision maker.
I love that I have this power right now. It's in the palm of my hand.
It is. Yeah.
This is actually a tough one for me too, because, well, first of all, Tom Hanks is my favorite actor. I think he's fantastic, and this is a very important film to bring to light that it happened at that time, that, so much of that was in the conversation. So this is not to discount it in any way. And this may be extra shocking because if you know me or have listened to this show probably at all, you probably know that I am not a fan of Westerns. It's not my thing. So when I watched Tombstone for the first time, mostly just to everyone was trying to convince me, if you haven't watched a Western that you like, watch Tombstone and you'll like a Western. Because the only ones I had liked up to that point were kind of more of the modern ones. Mm-hmm. And that's very different. It's a very different dynamic and type of film. So when I watched Tombstone, I came out of that that was a damn good movie. And I wasn't bored. I was engaged through it. I thought it was fantastic. And I think what's really, interesting and cool about that film is how they took such a small moment. I mean, when you think about how quick that showdown is in the scheme of things, and you compare that to a full feature-length film, and they made it so, connecting in a lot of ways to those characters, that it was a film that I've easily, I would watch again because I've enjoyed it so much. And I think I've seen it now 3 times. So it's definitely a good film if it can keep my attention in it being a Western, I guess is what I'll say.
So which is your vote?
Tombstone.
All right. Tombstone moves on in the next category.
Were you even listening to me? Or were you just I'm just waiting for the end?
I wanted to hear it. I need to make sure it was on record. Okay. So Ho North is Fugitive versus Tombstone. We'll come back to that. Right now, let's go into Ho South and figure out who the finalists are for there. John, who are your two finalists?
Okay, so my very first movie I'm going to have to bring up from 1993 is the classic that is Jurassic Park.
And how do you know they're all female? Does somebody go out in the park and pull up the dinosaurs' skirts?
We control their chromosomes. It's really not that difficult. All vertebrate embryos are inherently female anyway. They just require an extra hormone given at the right developmental stage to make them male. We simply deny them that.
Deny them that?
So the kind of control you're attempting is... it's not possible. Listen, if there's one thing the history of evolution has taught us, it's that life will not be contained. Life breaks free, it expands to new territories, and it crashes through barriers painfully, maybe even dangerously, but, well, there it is. There it is.
You're implying that a group composed entirely of female animals will breed?
No, I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
So what makes this the most notable movie in 1993? Well, first, we have a movie that has brought us groundbreaking visual effects so good that it convinced people dinosaurs were real. It is representative of huge leaps forward in both practical effects and CGI. The film is based on a novel by Michael Crichton and features a compelling story that takes us on a thrilling ride from the beginning to the end and explores themes such as science, ethics, and the consequences of tampering with nature. Likewise, it produces some of the most iconic characters today. We were talking about Dr. Alan Grant, Dr. Ellie Sattler, and the ever so quotable Jeff Goldblum's Malcolm. The film's iconic score, which was done by John Williams, which, you know what, when it comes to iconic scores, this is right there with the top of them. We're talking Star Wars, we're talking Superman. I can keep going, but let's just go with those two for one. Is just as impressive as the visuals. It won a Grammy Award for Best Score, for Soundtrack, and for Visual Media, and became one of the most recognizable themes of all time. The film's impact on pop culture is immeasurable. It is spawned sequels, merchandise, and even its own theme park rides. It remains as a beloved classic today, and new generations discover it and are inspired by it today. So that is my first movie. My second movie, and you're going to think I'm insane for even trying to pair these two movies up, because how do you pair up Demolition Man?
Great question.
How you doing?
We are not used to physical contact greetings.
Germs. Look, I don't know if you guys know it, but you're out of toilet paper.
Did you say toilet paper?
Oh, they used handfuls of wadded paper back in the 20s.
I'm happy that you're happy, but the place where you're supposed to have the toilet paper, you got this little shelf with 3 seashells on it.
He doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells. I can see how that could be confusing.
I don't believe it.
So again, you're wondering, dinosaurs compared to a police officer who is brought back out of suspended animation in a prison to pursue an ultraviolet nemesis who is loose on a non-violent society? Well, here it is. Demolition Man boasted an impressive cast that includes action movie legends such as Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. That also was one of the movies that introduced us to the joy and wonder that is Sandra Bullock. It has an action-packed storyline. The movie followed the journey of Stallone's character, John Spartan, as he tries to stop Snipes' character of Simon Phoenix. Not Felix. It's not Felix the cat. It's Phoenix, as in the bird, who has escaped from prison and wreaking havoc in a world. Innovating technology is actually brought up a lot in this movie for the first time. The movie introduces us to several technologies such as self-driving cars and virtual reality, which were all just beginning to be thought of back then. It has memorable one-liners such as enhance your calm and you're going to need a bigger gun. It's commentary on society, The movie tackled several societal issues, such as the effects of technology on society, the dangers of excessive political correctness, and oh shit, we did not listen to that one, and the need for law and order. It's got a great director Marco Brambilla infused the movie with a perfect blend of humor, action, and social commentary, making it one of the most memorable and entertaining movies of 1993. It has a cult following. Over the years, Demolition Man has gained a cult following from fans appreciating its unique story, futuristic settings, and action-packed sequences. I almost did this perfectly, you all. Okay. So those are my two movies. You might be going, how the hell are we going to go ahead and do this? I have a feeling it's going to be a lot harder than it really should be. Aaron, I'm going to let you go first because you made me go first.
Oh, John Davenport, you've been fined 5. Sorry. Oh, boy.
I still need to know what the hell the seashells and how they use them.
Yeah, 3 seashells. I really want to know what that's worth. What was the 5? You've been fined 5 credits for violations of the verbal morality statute, right? That's what it was?
That's it. Yeah.
God damn it. That's a harder choice than it should be. I'll tell you that. And I know people are like, Jurassic Park is one of the greatest films of all time. Sure. Demolition Man is one of the most fun movies of all time. So there's a difference there. I love Demolition Man. Did you mention Dennis Leary? I don't remember if you mentioned Dennis Leary.
Oh, I didn't even mention Dennis Leary. You're right.
He's great. Taco Bell, that whole thing, like Taco Bell's going to be the only food out there, and I totally believe that. We're getting pretty close to like a very, very small amount of fast food chains out in the world, in the wild. On the same token, it's hard to dispute, from my perspective, that Jurassic Park is an accomplishment in terms of filmmaking itself. It did make dinosaurs seem real, like you said. It's one of the best adventure films to ever come along. You know, for me, it's definitely up there, and it deserves to move on. So I'd say Jurassic Park.
All right, great. Amanda.
So I had a lot of fun watching Demolition Man. I enjoyed it. But I mean, to keep it pretty succinct, I don't see how that could ever compare with Jurassic Park. The success it's had, the impact it's had, the just achievements it's had. And if you think about all of the Jurassic Park / Jurassic World movies, at least for me, the best is still the original. Like, that is cold, hard truth, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Even with all of the effects that happen today, I would still prefer to watch the original with the gore and horror that came with it. And I think I love that component of it too. Aside from the adventure and the fun and the dinosaurs, not only were dinosaurs seeming real, dinosaurs were scary as shit. Like, suddenly, the Land Before Time got really terrifying. Now, granted, I think that came out after. But for me, I was coming out of the womb when Jurassic Park happened. So I reflected on those two films together.
Quite literally. Yeah. Maybe the same day. Who knows, right?
It might have been the same day.
All right. Everybody hold on to your butts. It's Troy's turn.
That's right. This might be unpopular, but I'm going to pick Demolition Man.
What?
Getting demolished by Jurassic Park.
I was going to say, by these votes, yeah, it was unpopular. That was good.
I told you guys to hold on to your butts.
Yeah. Let's go faster. Must go faster.
No, Jurassic Park, definitely. I played the Jurassic Park opening theme song on trumpet when I was in high school.
Wow.
We got to go to Jurassic Park at Universal, like in high school. I mean, it was like all the stuff Jurassic. So like 1993 is defined as the Jurassic period for my upbringing. So there's no way I could not pick this movie.
The Jurassic period. I see what you did there. All right. Jurassic Park moves on. Now it's Amanda. So you got the final two.
All right. We begin with Mrs. Doubtfire.
As your court liaison, I will be looking at two things. Your living environment.
More like a habitat, really.
And I will be coming by on Monday and Friday evenings to inspect it.
Well, I'll put on a chicken.
And of course, there's always the job issue. This is the nearest employment office. I've taken the liberty of making an appointment for you.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, do you have any special skills?
Oh, yes. I do. I do voices.
What do you mean you do voices?
Well, I do voices.
Yeah!
We've come to this planet looking for intelligent life. Oops, we made a mistake.
We're happy to be in America. Don't ask for a green card. I want you in the worst way.
Well, it's certainly a rough meeting, and it's not going very well for me, I'll tell you that. Hey, boss, give it a chance. She's going to loosen up any moment.
Look at me right now, Moneypenny. I want to undo that bow and get to know you. I'm crazy to make a deal with you.
Nancy and I are still looking for the other half of my head.
Idiot! You're doing it. I'm sitting on a gold mine.
Don't make me smack you, sweetheart. I'll do it.
Figaro.
I do a great impression of a hot dog.
After a bitter divorce, an actor disguises himself as a female housekeeper to spend time with his children, held in custody by his former wife. If you're not familiar with this film, I'm really sorry for you because you are missing out. But it stars Robin Williams, probably and arguably his best performance. It definitely changed things for him and everything we knew of Robin Williams and really set things in motion for him. It was directed by Chris Columbus, who was the guy that made Gremlins a thing and also made, what was it, PG-13 a thing with Gremlins? Is that right? So you got good people behind it. You also have the impact of this film. Like, we talked about Robin Williams and how he's iconic and fantastic in this film. But if you have seen the film, which most people probably have, or if you've at least seen it, I'm sure you've seen memes of the iconic moment where he improvised and put the icing on his face and stuff. That was completely improvised by Robin Williams because it was not supposed to be melting. It was just so hot on the stage that's what caused that. And he's the one who made that moment so beautiful. And I think that's one of the key components of why this is such a great film, is because of everything Robin Williams did with the role. If you put anyone else in that particular role, this movie is just not the same. He truly lived that character in very literal terms also, where he actually tested his disguise out, his Oscar-winning makeup and hairstyling disguise at, I think it was like a store or a porn store or something like that. And nobody recognized him and he was able to make his purchase. And that's kind of how he tested it out. But they also start talking about a conversation that was very rare for that time. And it was about LGBT and feminist issues. And I think if you even really get down to the nitty gritty of it, the emotional impact that a parent would have about the things they would go through in the most comedic way possible, the things they would go through to be close to their children, to just have any sort of moment, even if this kid doesn't know who you are, as long as you get the satisfaction of being able to see them, know that they're okay, check in on them. I think that is one of the most important takeaways from this film. And it does it all with comedy, which is so hard to do, and to get like a message across. The other points that I would bring up, aside from its major box office winnings, which I don't even really need to go into, like Troy, because I can justify my film without it. But I know. I actually have a lot of respect for what they did with the script and how they decided on the final cut of the film, because there's multiple cuts of it. And they wanted to make sure that the ending had some sort of a happy ending. And so they moved away from the original ending, which was for them to not be back together. Then they changed it for the happy ending. They rewrote it and they reconcile. But then when they started thinking about it, the producers decided that they didn't want this concept to come across to kids and families that divorced parents are inevitably going to get back together. So that's why they went back to the original ending. And I think that intentionality is obvious through the film. It's very pointed in what it's trying to talk to you about, but it does it with flair, and it does it with just this very wild sense of humor that you're only going to get with Robin Williams. That is Mrs. Doubtfire. Now, my next one is The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, my head. The door is open.
Hello?
Jack Skellington.
Up here, my boy. Doctor, I need to borrow some equipment.
Is that so? Whatever for?
I'm conducting a series of experiments.
How perfectly marvelous.
Curiosity killed the cat, you know.
I know.
Come on into the lab and we'll get you all fixed up.
Mwahahaha. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. And yes, I chose this over Hocus Pocus because it's a better film, if we're being perfectly honest. And although many of you may think that Tim Burton directed this, he did not. Kids, he didn't. He was just the producer. But this was his original concept. This came from him, his idea that he had when he was younger. And The Nightmare Before Christmas, I think, takes away the stigma that was around Halloween, the stigma that was around Christmas for some people. And it shows how even though you may not have lived that experience and you may have judgment for whatever somebody else is doing or how they're living their life, you can see how walking in someone else's shoes can light up your life. Like, you can finally understand, oh, I get what's so appealing about that for this person. And I think those diverse perspectives in the 90s were definitely needed after the 80s and the 70s and 60s and just keep going backwards. But some of the other things that are so notable about the film, particularly the stop animation for it and the art that went into it. They had, I think, 17 to 19 different artists who were working on it. They spent so much time, effort, and money, 3 years, mind you, to get this film from point A to point B. They invested in this as if it was you could see the love, like it was a love letter to filmmakers, to animators in particular. And I'm sure John can probably get into all the technicalities of this, but from my non-artsy perspective, all I'm thinking is, holy shit, somebody made this. So, somebody took this from their brain and put this onto paper and then put it onto a TV or a film screen. And to me, that is just what's so magnificent about it, is how unique the animation is, how perfect the animation is, and everything that it's contributed to animation film. And that is The Nightmare Before Christmas. So, John, I'm going to go to you because you're the arts guy. I'm curious what your take is between Mrs. Doubtfire and The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I'm glad you asked. All right. Mrs. Doubtfire is a movie that I had loved for a very long time, primarily because of Robin Williams. It's something that I enjoy. It's funny. It's got a lot of heart to it. It's scary in a lot of senses as you grow up watching it, just in the sense of like what can happen to a family and or relationships if you take a misstep. And there's a lot of even though it's all taken through the eye of a comedy, there's a lot of lessons that can be taken from what kind of person you end up wanting to be. However, I always forget that Nightmare Before Christmas was filmed and was released in 1993. I keep on thinking that it was released 5 years ago. I keep on thinking that everything about that was still recent. The animation style is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's got a lot of life to it, even though it's not something that's fancy and CG related. It's stop motion and it's beautiful to watch in its entirety. It is something that relies on animation styles that we've in a lot of senses have abandoned. Is it something that screams Tim Burton? Sure. Is that good? Not always, but the fact that this movie has remained to be something that's wildly timeless, it engages new people every single day, and the art behind it is something that needs to be applauded. That's why I'm going to go with Nightmare Before Christmas.
Good pick. Aaron, what's yours?
Go to Troy because I'm still debating.
All right, going to Troy.
What's this? Nightmare is going through. What's this? It isn't even new, but it's amazing. And it should be sung by everybody every single time it comes on the TV, because it should be on all the time. Because what you don't know about this film is that it wasn't written and then filmed. It was written day by day by day, scene by scene. Denny Elfman had to not only learn his lines, but he also had to write the music in like minutes in order to make this thing get accomplished. It's probably one of the greatest puzzle pieces being put together in film history, and it shows. and it's freaking fantastic. And if you get to go to the Haunted Mansion during Christmas and ride the Haunted Mansion version of The Nightmare Before Christmas, it's fantastic. So yes, The Nightmare Before Christmas is our Christmas present to you.
A great call out, because I completely forgot to mention Danny Elfman, who
Danny
composed
Elfman
the soundtrack.
is The Nightmare Before Christmas.
And also the impact that had on soundtracks in general, because music in film accompanying it like that was starting to die off a little bit, and that kind of brought it back to life.
So my vote doesn't matter, but on the same token, I'd like to state it. So Mrs. Doubtfire, I think, is a great film that is a product of time, which means if you watch it now, it's more terrifying than it is funny to me. I still love Robin Williams. I mean, he managed to make that seem like a warm character, but as a devoted father myself, I remember seeing it going, this is fucking insane. Like, why are people cheering this? This is not healthy. All of this is damaging to those kids. All of this is very, very bad. This person needs psychiatric help.
Probably, but it's entertaining, and some people can see why they would be like,
absolutely.
If I was crazy enough, I would do that.
I'm explaining my position. I think it's a wonderful film, and if you watch it as a film, but I remember watching that as a dad and going, what is happening? Why is this okay? We should not be okay with this. This is very, very invasive. But thankfully, I mean, you have an ending that kind of rectifies a lot of that. On the same token, it's bonkers. And I love the trailer, if you find it on YouTube, where they recut it with horror music, and it's like totally a horror movie.
That is really, that movie actually would have beaten Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, that was just genius. But I do love the film, and it is probably Robin Williams' best work. I would agree with that. And also, it shouldn't go unnoticed that Sally Field is fantastic in that film too. Like,
oh, absolutely.
She has a really, really hard position to play, and she does it because you walk in wanting to root everything against her because you love Robin Williams. But as the movie goes on, you're like, she's right. I mean, this is on you, buddy. You lost your family because of you. She did everything she could to keep that family together. So, and Nightmare Before Christmas, I feel like these two have already spoken to it. Amanda, you spoke to it very eloquently. It's a remarkable achievement. Much like Jurassic Park, it's a remarkable technical achievement. And I love Danny Elfman. All the way back to Oingo Boingo, man. It's a dead man's party. Who could ask for more? I will take him doing music of any kind. So mine would have been Nightmare Before Christmas too.
It goes on. It lives on.
All right. Okay, now we get into where you can pick up the pace a little bit. Just make your vote. And remember, any ties will be decided by the Facebook group poll that we took. So, Whole North. The finalists are Fugitive and Tombstone, and everybody gets a vote. Troy.
Fugitive.
John Davenport.
Tombstone.
Amanda Sink.
So we have Tombstone and The Fugitive. And both of those are great. But, and I know this seems weird, but I think I'm going to go Tombstone.
What? Hang on, let me check the tape. Did she say Tombstone?
I know, right?
Did she say Tombstone?
She said Tombstone.
She just said Tombstone.
Okay, I got to tell you, I love Fugitive, but I love Tombstone. So Tombstone's going on. Like I said, what's better than Harrison Ford? Kurt Russell. That's right. Moving on.
That works out.
Now the next one. Oh, it's like it's like, and I want to say, I didn't mention this. Kurt Russell's Tombstone knocked out Wyatt Earp. There was a whole Kevin Costner movie the same year about Wyatt Earp, and nobody gives a shit because this was better. All right. Now, Ho South, Jurassic Park versus Nightmare Before Christmas. I think this is a harder contest than it should have been, but that's what this is about. John, what say you?
This is going to be wildly shocking, and I'm even shocked by what I'm about to say. Nightmare Before Christmas.
Troy.
Pass.
No, you have to vote. You can't pass. We'll come back to you. Amanda, what's your vote?
I don't know. This one's a little bit tougher for me. I think I'm going to go with Nightmare Before Christmas.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
To me, they both have marks of achievement in a lot of ways, but Nightmare Before Christmas has had a longer lasting impact on me personally. And I just love that's such a beautiful blend for me. Those are two of my favorite holidays. So.
Okay. I'm going with Jurassic Park because as much as I love Nightmare Before Christmas, to me, the technical achievement and just the wonder, the moment when they go into the freaking dinosaur park and they're all in awe of these dinosaurs, and I was too, and it still captures whenever I watch that movie. I still have that feeling. I haven't had it with any of the sequels, but I have it with that first one. So Jurassic Park. So Troy, what you got?
I can't pick.
If you can't pick, Nightmare Goes On.
It is a requirement.
No, I can't do it. This is like the worst position to be in ever. Oh, okay. So if I pick JP, then JP wins because it is number one in the poll. So in order for Nightmare to win, but could Nightmare be Tombstone? That's the question. Because I don't care which one goes, but Tombstone can't win the final.
You can't vote like that. Come on, that's not fair. You got to vote for which of those two, period, wins.
I like to sing. I like dinosaurs. I like singing dinosaurs. Oh, man.
Did I miss the singing dinosaurs?
No, I think he's trying to combine them. He's hoping they are one film, but they are not.
That's exactly right. I'm trying to go outside the box. Rick and A.
Do 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 do.
Technically, both movie. Superior. Musically, both superior. Long-lasting effect on culture.
If it helps you, Nightmare Before Christmas is still, at this point, has retained more of a cult following, whereas Jurassic Park has more of a mainstream following.
One of the biggest films of all time. Yeah.
That also just makes me want to not choose it because it's like capitalism.
That's probably what he's playing on.
Well, I'm not playing on anything.
Stop and try to influence the judges. What are we doing here? Huh? Let the man choose.
I'm not trying to play on anything. I voted
John
for
is,
the
John
other
is advocating
movie.
for his movie. Amanda can advocate for her movie. I don't care. I need help.
I'm not advocating for my movie. I'm just pointing out facts because
I feel like you're trying.
Troy, I'm going to give you a time limit.
John, you are fined 5 credits for repeated violations of the verbal morality statute. Troy, pick a goddamn movie.
The characters are so unique.
I'm not even going to be here for the final vote at this rate.
Let's go. God, man.
It pains me to do this because I love Jurassic, but I really love The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Wow. Upset. That's an upset. Dun, dun,
we love to see it.
Please don't send me the hate mail. It wasn't my fault. I went last.
All right.
It's exactly your fault that you went last.
Okay. Now we're in the final round. Now it is, surprisingly, actually, with all the ones we had, the finalists are Nightmare Before Christmas versus Tombstone, best movie of 1993, according to the Hollywood Outsider. So, we go around. Amanda, I know you've got to get out of here soon, so why don't you vote?
I am going with, drumroll. What did John say? Get your butts ready or something?
Hold on to your butts.
Hold on to your butts.
Hang on. Get your butts ready? That's I don't know what that is from.
A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Wow. Okay.
I did not see that coming, but neither did her butt, so it's okay.
Well, okay. I didn't know that was going on with my butt.
John, that's enough butt talk.
Oh, this is going to be... I'm going to get hate mail for this one, and it's a good thing that I actually checked my mail this time. I'm going to go with Tombstone.
Okay. I am also going with Tombstone. I think I said all the reasons why.
I am going with Nightmare Before Christmas because
way
better than Tombstone, but it doesn't matter because Tombstone wins in the tie poll, blah, 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 whatever.
So we do go to the poll in this instance.
I miss when we used to phone a friend.
I know.
What do you mean?
When we used to call somebody for the tiebreaker, we used to physically call someone and bring them on like it was who wants to win, who wants to be a millionaire.
That was a bit rigged, though, wasn't it? Wouldn't you say? Don't you think that was a bit like?
Not in this situation. I think it'd be a fair answer.
Okay.
It depends on who you ask.
Well, we do have to go by the Facebook poll. Them's the rules, and the winner there is Tombstone. So Tombstone does win Best Movie of the Year.
Okay. I helped put it there. This is my fault too.
Hey.
So if I pick JP, would JP have beat Tombstone?
Not to me.
Yeah, it would have beat it for me.
Well, I guess it's up to John.
Well,
John to pick JP.
It doesn't matter.
You can't go back now.
It didn't. There's no backsies. There's no backsies. That's what a battle is.
But I am curious. Hold on. But I am curious, John, if you had to have chosen.
Even if he picked Tombstone, it wouldn't have mattered because JP would have tied it and JP would have won from the poll.
Right. So my answer is that apparently Nate Bruce is going to try to make me watch Ted Lasso.
Good. I like this.
What?
I don't know how this connects with anything at all we're talking about, but
it has nothing to do with it. It's because there's no point in me even like engaging because of what Troy just said. Right. So like, so I went the other way.
You and I would have picked JP, and JP would have won. But that's the given answer. We'd like to spice it up here at the Hollywood Outsider.
Here's what I would say. That movie lost. Jurassic Park lost. It was beaten by Tombstone, the best Western to have ever existed, in my opinion. Was starring the greatest actor to have ever donned that mustache, in my opinion. All right. Amanda has to get out of here, so thank you for joining us and blessing us with your presence.
I promise I'm going to be back for an entire episode next time.
Mm-hmm.
I had to think about our schedule to be like, hold on a second. Are we recording 2 episodes today?
Yeah. Well, anyway, so congratulations to Tombstone. Let's just, y'all have to say
Congrats,
it.
Tombstone.
There you go.
I'm going to go watch Magnificent 7 later.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode. You can share your thoughts on this or anything else in our Facebook group or on Twitter @BuyPopcorn. Our site is thehollywoodoutsider.com. Feedback @thehollywoodoutsider.com is our email address. Please rate and subscribe on your preferred podcast app, whatever it is, if it's Spotify, Apple, whatever it is. And also share the show on your social media. Tell your friends about the Hollywood Outsider. That's how you get out there and people check this out. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I think Battle Royales are a lot of fun. We haven't done one in a while, so I hope you really dig it. And that's going to do it for this episode. Remember, the next time you head to a theater or stream comfortably on your couch, buy popcorn.